Hello and welcome, and thank you for your interest in this documentary about Mensa of Northeastern New York, covering the years from 2011 back to 1963 when the group was established. This is segment 3 of the part that covers the years 2010 and 2011. The documentary actually consists of 2 parts. The part we're going to look at now covers the time from November 2010 through December 2011. The other part covers the time from October 2010 back to December 1963 when the group was established, and we invite you to look at that sometime also. There are 5 segments in the part of the documentary that covers the time from November 2010 through December 2011. The first segment includes the introduction, an overview, listing of events, and some other interests of some of the members. Segment 2 includes information about the positions in the group that begin with the letters A through H. Segment 3, which is the segment we're going to look at now, includes information about the positions beginning with the letters I through Z. It also includes information about the communications used in the group and the numbers of members in the group over the years. Segment 4 includes information about members of Mensa of Northeastern New York who also have positions in American Mensa or the Mensa Education and Research Foundation. Segment 5 includes information about the nature and characteristics of American Mensa, the nature and characteristics of the Mensa Education and Research Foundation. It gives a close description of the methodology that was used in the research and preparation of this documentary. It will include credits and acknowledgments for the many people who contributed to the research and preparation of this documentary. It will give a focus to the heritage of Mensa of Northeastern New York. It will include the reflections by the author after completing the research and preparation of the documentary, and it will include the conclusion. So let us begin now with a welcoming by President Rob Salkin.
Hi folks, my name is Rob Salkin. I'm the president of Mensa of Northeastern New York. I hold a variety of other positions in Mensa. I'm glad Leo's put together this documentary of our group, and you'll learn a little more about our group with this documentary. You'll hear about all the events that we have. We have Tavern Tuesday, we have a picnic in the park, we have games night, we have all sorts of other things that you'll hear more about. We also have a bunch of different officers you'll hear about. We have an events coordinator, we have a editor, we have a vice president, we have treasurer, we have all sorts of other things, and I hope you'll stick around and hear all about it. Thanks.
Well, the first and primary elective office of Mensa of Northeastern New York is, of course, the president. Rob Salkin is the current president. He was elected president effective November 1, 2010. The president of Mensa of Northeastern New York, as with many organizations, is the chief. That is to say, he's the chief leader, the chief motivator, the chief supporter, the chief guider, the chief seeker of volunteers. There's a more formal title or concept of the president. President is the chief executive officer of the group, is also the chair of the executive committee, and is the primary point of contact between American Mensa and the local group. The president is the person who sets the goals and has the leading vision for the group as far as activities and functions are concerned. When Rob became the president, his goals were to increase the administration of the Mensa admission tests by 100%, to increase the involvement of the members by 50%, and to increase the membership by 10%. These are certainly guiding goals and takes the effort of a lot of people working together to achieve. Terry Walsh was appointed local scholarship chair in December 2010. The scholarship essay program is actually conducted by the Mensa Education and Research Foundation, but each year a local scholarship chair is appointed in Mensa of Northeastern New York to take care of the process within the group. Of course, there is a participation agreement between the Mensa group and the Mensa Education Research Foundation. The local scholarship chair takes care of the process within the group. In September, the local scholarship chair works with the group's publicity person to prepare and send out the information about the program to the school districts, the colleges, the press, and any other organization or person associated with persons who might apply for the scholarship. And this publicity is sent out throughout the entire geographic territory of Mensa Education, of the Mensa of Northeastern New York group. When the applications come in, the local scholarship chair appoints a 3-member committee to evaluate the applications and essays. They come into a regular mailbox. The applications are then evaluated, and by February 16th, they're all sent in to the regional scholarship chair. And also the local scholarship chair expenses report is sent in to the Mensa Education and Research Foundation for reimbursement. The following May, the list of winners is available to see on the website of the Mensa Education and Research Foundation. Peter Sukaris was the local scholarship chair for Mensa of Northeastern New York from 2007 through November of 2010. The processes and requirements and notices at that time were the same as they are at the present. A participation agreement is signed by Mensa of Northeastern New York and the Mensa Education and Research Foundation. The local scholarship chair is appointed by the Mensa group, and in September, publicity is sent out. Applications are sent out as requested, but they can be downloaded directly from the website of Mensa Education and Research Foundation. The applications come in to a mailbox that the local scholarship chair rents for that purpose. Then local scholarship chair recruits a committee of at least 3 members of the group to evaluate the applications. Then the applications are sent by mid-February to the regional scholarship chair, and the local scholarship chair sends his or her expense report to the Mensa Education and Research Foundation for reimbursement. Then the following May, the list of winners of the scholarships are posted to the website of the Mensa Education and Research Foundation and are available for everyone to see. Tom Milner is the new members officer of Mensa of Northeastern New York. He was appointed in 2010, continues to the present. The function of the membership officer is to contact new members to inform them about the programs in the local group and offer to accompany them to some of those programs. It is difficult for some individuals to enter into new groups of people, and so the new member officer would help them do that. And for those who have been in a group for a while, as well as the new members, the new members officer helps them, encourages them to host an event. Hosting usually just means picking a place and publicizing it so people can come to it. For those members who prefer not to attend events, and of course there are always a number of them in any Mensa group, the new members officers encourages them to participate in special interest groups that will add to the value of their being Mensans. Conrad Langley is a member of Mensa of Northeastern New York and also is an ombudsman for the group. The role of an ombudsman is to help settle disputes between members of the group. There is also an ombudsman available at the National American Mensa level for consultation if need be. There has not been any dispute so major that it needed to have the services of an ombudsman in Mensa of Northeastern New York in recent memory, and there's actually no record that I've seen of the need for such service. However, Conrad is available if the need should occur. Fawn Arnold is the other ombudsman in Mensa of Northeastern New York, and like Conrad Langley, the other ombudsman, she hopes that her services are never needed to settle a dispute among the members of Mensa of Northeastern New York. However, she is there and willing to assist if the need should occur, and there is also an ombudsman at the national level with whom she could consult if need be. So we thank Fawn Arnold for volunteering for this position. It's good to have the position available, and but we all hope it'll never be needed. Ken Gachik was proctor coordinator in Mensa of Northeastern New York from December 2010 to May 2011. Ken has a lot of experience in Mensa, and he knows that the proctor coordinator position is very important. He knows that there are two main components. One is to coordinate the administration of the testing program, and the other is actually to administer the test itself. The administration involves a variety of aspects, but it includes recruiting new proctors, which is helped by receiving the list of potential prospects for proctor from the American Mensa list, and to assist interested people in learning how to do it, and then to help the other people administer the test, fill out the results in terms of the fees and the reporting, and send them in a timely manner. So Ken was very good at this, and we appreciate his fine service. Proctors are very important to Mensa of Northeastern New York and to any Mensa group because they administer the Mensa admission test to prospects who would like to obtain Mensa membership. There is a process for certification through which individuals must go, and that is administered by the national headquarters of the American Mensa. Ken Gachik is a proctor primarily in the Albany area. Joe O'Malley is a proctor primarily but not exclusively in the Rotterdam area. Victor O'Valley is a proctor primarily in the Plattsburgh area, but all of the area in the northeast part of the territory of Mensa of Northeastern New York. Christopher Stroud is a proctor who administers the test in the Ticonderoga area, but he's also available to administer the test in other areas such as Clifton Park. Priscilla Sweet is a proctor primarily in the Schenectady area, but also in other areas, including Albany. Walter Ulrich is a proctor primarily, but not exclusively, in the Glens Falls area. And Terry Walsh is a proctor primarily in the Albany area. Willard Hoyt is the publications officer of Mensa of Northeastern New York. He's been in this position since 2009. Willard has also been in numerous other positions, including the leadership position as LOCSAC. And as the publications officer, he is responsible for assuring that the publications meet the standards of American Mensa. He's also a member of the executive committee of Mensa of Northeastern New York, and he's been a member of the executive committee for a number of years. As such, he participates in making the decisions for the group, helping to develop the policies, the plans, and the activities. And he's been involved with the group so long that he has a good, solid basis of experience for making the recommendations. He's also been a member of Mensa of Northeastern New York for 45 years. He's written in a column continually for the Mensa of Northeastern New York newsletter for over 25 years. Willard is certainly a very major contributor to what makes Mensa of Northeastern New York a good, outstanding Mensa group. In addition to everything else that Andrew Heffernan does for Mensa of Northeastern New York, and even for Mensa, American Mensa as Region 1 Vice President, he is also the recruitment and publicity coordinator for Mensa of Northeastern New York. He's been in this position since 2010. The objective, of course, is to help people become new members of Mensa of Northeastern New York and to publicize the availability of the Mensa group as well as the events and opportunities to participate. The activities involve identifying opportunities to publicize the group and also the specific activities such as open houses or the testing which is done actually on a year-round basis, but with emphasis during Mensa testing month. And these duties cover the whole geographic territory of Mensa of Northeastern New York, which is 180 miles north and south and 61 miles east and west. Also, because he's Region 1 Vice President of American Mensa, he takes extra focus in coordinating the publicity of the events of Mensa of Northeastern New York with the events and publicity of the other Mensa groups in Region 1. Bruce Allen was site coordinator for Mensa of Northeastern New York from 1988 until 2011. Site means service for information, guidance, and hospitality to travelers. His main function as site coordinator was to match up potential guests to the territory of Mensa of Northeastern New York, any place in the territory, with a member of Mensa of Northeastern New York who would serve as a host. And the host would provide information and guidance and possibly hospitality to the guest. But that would not necessarily mean that the member would provide lodging. It would mean providing information, guidance, so that the guest would have more pleasant time within the territory of Mensa of Northeastern New York. In order to do this, he would locate members of Mensa of Northeastern New York who would be willing to volunteer to do this kind of assistance to travelers. It's totally voluntary. And then he would keep those names on a list so that when the need arose, he would know who to contact. Also, in this capacity as site coordinator, he would receive information and news from the national site coordinator. And he also had an email chat list so he could communicate with site coordinators of other groups. For the hosts whom he recruited within Mensa of Northeastern New York, he would give copies of the host's evaluation form. That would be the form filled out by the host. He would also give the host the guest's evaluation form so that when the host was communicating with the guest, the host could give the guest a copy of the evaluation form for the guest to fill out later. Also, Bruce would give the host an incident report form in case anything special happened, then it would have a means to report it. Also, Bruce, as the coordinator, gave a quarterly report to the national site coordinator. Bruce enjoyed doing this, as you can tell from the fact that he was site coordinator from 1988 to 2011. And he moved out of the territory of Mensa of Northeastern New York in 2011. Actually went south. So, south to Florida. So he did a great service for Mensa of Northeastern New York. John Scanlon was Special Events Registrar of Mensa of Northeastern New York in 2010 and 2011. Registration, as everyone knows, is very important in any event because that's the first place of contact that an attendee will make with the event. If that goes well, it's going to be great. And if that does not go well at the registration, then that can really set back the fun that the person will have at the event. John was the registrar for the American Mensa Mind Games that was hosted by Mensa of Northeastern New York and chaired by John Hornberger. That took place in April 2011. Just as a summary, the registration function is fairly complex. It involves taking the names and the money of the registrants, preparing name tags, giving them to the person, putting together the registration packets, arranging the space, assuring that the documents and supplies are available at the point of registration for the people who are actually greeting the guests or the members coming in, the persons coming in. Also at registration, they sell items, and he's also was responsible for preparing the registration volunteers so that the volunteers could provide the information and answer questions about the event. Of course, there's always the accounting for the money that was taken in and preparing the reports later. His goal was for registration to go smoothly. John was also on the planning committee for the regional gathering that Mensa of Northeastern New York was going to host in September 2011. Actually did host then, but John moved in July. He moved out of our territory and over to the state of Arizona. John was a great value to Mensa of Northeastern New York. Randy Brunson is the treasurer of Mensa of Northeastern New York. He's been the treasurer since 2007, and the responsibilities of the treasurer are fairly complex. The object is, of course, to safeguard the funds, keep the financial records in order, handle the financial transactions, report to the executive committee how things are going or have gone, but also to prepare a report so that the general membership of Mensa of Northeastern New York will know the status of the income and expenses, and also how they compare with the budgeted amounts. His specific duties in order to accomplish that are to keep a bank account, a bookkeeping system or a record system for every transaction of income and expenditures, also to reimburse for approved expenditures, to do the quarterly financial review to the president, and twice annually to prepare the report that goes in the group's newsletter, and once a year to give a report directly to American Mensa at the national headquarters. And of course, he has to keep these records for future review. Randy enjoys doing this, and he does it exceedingly well. Gia Martin was Vice President of Mensa of Northeastern New York from 2010 to 2011. As Vice President, she had the usual duties and participated as a member of the Executive Committee. Part of the duties included to write up minutes of the meetings of the Executive Committee and to preside at those meetings in the absence of the President. Also, she could have performed any tasks as assigned by the President or the Executive Committee. Other responsibilities of the position were to suggest ideas and recommendations and possible solutions for problems as they occurred, or to offer initiatives and review the activities, bring items to the attention of the president or the executive committee. Of course, if the president vacated the position of the presidency, then she would immediately and automatically have become the president. Now, of course, that would drastically have changed her positions, although the duties of the vice president position would have remained the same. Judy Keating was appointed vice president in 2011 and continues as vice president. She has actually been vice president before, and she also was president and editor. She has led many events in Mensa of Northeastern New York. She's on the executive committee and has been on that for several years. She's always ready to take on whatever project is needed by Mensa of Northeastern New York. And she's hosted many Mensa events, and she's been a member of other groups, so she can compare what goes on in other groups compared with Mensa of Northeastern New York, and offer solutions for problems as they develop. Because of her perspective, that gives a depth of understanding to the problems and a depth of understanding about various ways to effectively solve the problems. It was while she was a member of Boston Mensa that she met and married her husband, Harry Ringermacher. Judy has also attended many other Mensa events, including several regional gatherings and annual gatherings, and even a world gatherings. So she really has a depth of Mensa experience. Judy is an excellent example of a Mensa leader. You could even say she is a model for leadership in Mensa. She is indeed a Mensan of Mensans. David McGregor has been the webmaster of Mensa of Northeastern New York since 2009 to the present, 2011. The webmaster function is very important because in these days of digital communication, it is necessary to have the digital face of the group up to date. It is also a major communications hub because the monthly newsletter is put in there as well as notices of events. Dave also has the function of sending notices of the events through the distribution lists on Yahoo and Facebook, and works closely with others involved in the communication process, including the editor, the events coordinator, the recruitment publicity coordinator, testing coordinator, and of course the president. And a part of Dave's duties as webmaster is to keep the website up to date. The website does have improvements from time to time, and it's important to have them input and operational on a timely basis. Well, we've looked a lot at the events and positions in Mensa of Northeastern New York. Let's touch upon some other aspects. For example, the variety of communications that we use, and also the humor. A lot of humor at various social events and also in the newsletter. And of course, numbers. We always want to know how many members there are. So let's take a look. We all know how important communications as a function is in Mensa of Northeastern New York, and all organizations. And we've had quite a bit to say about the electronic and digital and hard copy issues and website and Facebook and communication, as well as the Yahoo distribution list, but and also the National Mensa website. And this purpose of this slide is to give a little focus to the editor, Rich Rakowski, Dave McGregor, the website, the webmaster, Rob Salkin, the president, and thank them for being the chief but not exclusive digitizers of the group. Willard White is a phenomenal member of Mensa of Northeastern New York. He's been a member since 1966, 45 consecutive years. In all this time, he's been active in events of Mensa of Northeastern New York. With respect to the newsletter is, of course, the main means of continuing communication with all the members of the group. Tells about events and other items of information, but it also has some humor in it. And one of the special places where humor is in the article Witzelzoek, which Willard has written continually since 1988, and even before that, since 1975, he was contributing to it. Witzelzoek includes puns and jokes, adds a lot of humor, and a special characteristic of Witzelzoek is that Willard writes the puns and the jokes himself. It is original work. In addition to writing Witzelzoek, Willard is also on the executive committee, has been for many years, and very active in events of the group, attends almost all the meetings, gave a speech at the regional gathering in September of 2011, and you can count on Willard to help the group wherever he is needed. Willard certainly is a mainstay of Mensa of Northeastern New York and is a phenomenal Mensa member. Well, the membership of Mensa of Northeastern New York has changed over time, but from the time it started until now, it has increased its membership 17-fold. Back in 1963, when Joe Manuel decided that we should have a Mensa group in this area, he gathered together all 13 members of Mensa at that time, and they went through the process to propose a group and have it formally approved by American Mensa. And then it grew a little bit until 1970, when it was about 20 members. It grew a little more after that, and then by 1979, it was up to 100, and then it continued on up, and in 1984, it was 133 members. And the number of members from 1984 to the present have been recorded and provided by American Mensa, the national headquarters in Arlington, Texas. The number of members in the group continually increased up through 1989, when it reached 164 members. From that time, there was a little drop-off, but it stayed in the 150s, 140s, 130s, and then in 1999, it got back up to 145, 166 in 2000, and it's continually increased since then up until 2010. It reached 237. Right now in 2011, the number is 222. So Mensa of Northeastern New York has gone from a very small group to a mid-sized Mensa group. Well, this documentary about Mensa of Northeastern New York was prepared by Leo A. Kellogg, who was the first ever historian of Mensa of Northeastern New York. The documentary is copyrighted for and by Mensa of Northeastern New York, and all rights are reserved. Well, here's a listing of all of the segments of the November 2010 through December 2011 part of the documentary about Mensa of Northeastern New York. When you're done looking at this summary, just go ahead and shut off your video. And we thank you for your interest in this documentary about Mensa of Northeastern New York. It will include the conclusion. So let us begin now with a welcoming by President Rob Salkin.
Hi folks, my name is Rob Salkin. I'm the president of Mensa of Northeastern New York. I hold a variety of other positions in Mensa. I'm glad Leo's put together this documentary of our group, and you'll learn a little more about our group with this documentary. You'll hear about all the events that we have. We have Tavern Tuesday. We have a picnic in the park. We have games night. We have all sorts of other things that you'll hear more about. We also have a bunch of different officers you'll hear about. We have an events coordinator. We have a editor. We have a vice president. We have treasurer. We have all sorts of other things. And I hope you'll stick around and hear all about it. Thanks.
Well, the first and primary elective office of Mensa of Northeastern New York is, of course, the president. Rob Salkin is the current president. He was elected president effective November 1, 2010. The president of Mensa of Northeastern New York, as with many organizations, is the chief. That is to say, he is the chief leader, the chief motivator, the chief supporter, the chief guider, the chief seeker of volunteers. There's a more formal title or concept of the president. The president is the chief executive officer of the group, is also the chair of the executive committee, and is the primary point of contact between American Mensa and the local group. Hello and welcome, and thank you for your interest in this documentary about Mensa of Northeastern New York, covering the years from 2011 back to 1963 when the group was established. This is segment 3 of the part that covers the years 2010 and 2011. The documentary actually consists of 2 parts. The part we're going to look at now covers the time from November 2010 through December 2011. The other part covers the time from October 2010 back to December 1963 when the group was established, and we invite you to look at that sometime also. There are 5. Segment 4 includes information about members of Mensa of Northeastern New York who also have positions in American Mensa or the Mensa Education and Research Foundation. Segment 5 includes information about the nature and characteristics of American Mensa, the nature and characteristics of the Mensa Education and Research Foundation. It gives a close description of the methodology that was used in the research and preparation of this documentary. It will include credits and acknowledgments for the many, many people who contributed to the research and preparation of this documentary. It will give a focus to the heritage of Mensa of Northeastern New York. It will include the reflections by the author after completing the research and preparation of the documentary, and the segments in the part of the documentary that covers the time from November 2010 through December 2011. The first segment includes the introduction, an overview, listing of events, and some other interests of some of the members. Segment 2 includes information about the positions in the group that begin with the letters A through H. Segment 3, which is the segment we're going to look at now, includes information about the positions beginning with the letters I through Z. It also includes information about the communications used in the group and the numbers of members in the group over the years.